the Super Mario Brothers movie. So this film is an adaptation of the famous game series by Nintendo, which stems all the way back to the 1980s. And since then, we've had a mass amount of seasons, but also a bunch of spin-offs as well that don't just involve the two brothers, but also a collection of other characters as well. And I'll be totally honest, this was a film I was actually looking forward to because growing up when I was young, I was a huge fan of Super Mario. I used to love playing the games when I was a kid. I think my favourite game actually was Super Mario 64, and I just remember all the dates and the nights on that game and going around my friends' houses when I was about 10 and 11 years old and just absolutely loving it. It was just, you know, a real delight to play. And I loved playing the Mario Kart games as well, and also Donkey Kong when I was young too. I think the Mario Super Brothers series has always been an integral part of my childhood growing up, and now that I'm in my 30s about to watch this film, I think to myself, you know what, I'm going to go right back to my childhood here watching this film. And of course there was going to be, and already is, a lot of criticism pretty much immediately about why they're choosing to make this film, such as like, what's the point? Is this just a cash grab where people are just running out of ideas? Or is it just something to reintroduce a famous series anyway to a new generation of audience members? And I think to a large degree, I think it's all of those things, because when you look at Super Mario Brothers in general as a series, it did revolutionise gaming. And when you think about the idea of it being turned into a film, I think the whole point of it is to make it as faithful to those games as much as possible, because that's the entire point of making it this way, because it's about us seeing our favourite characters from the series on the screen. But equally, I do think that this film generates a lot of appeal for both adults and for kids as well. I mean, it's already broken a record as far as animated films at the box office during its opening weekend is concerned, having dethroned Frozen 2 and The Lion King. So I think a lot of people will be looking into this as if it's just like a nostalgic cash grab, and it's a film that's not to be taken too seriously. However, if you haven't played the games before, it won't appeal to you straight away, and I think the best option in that respect is just to go in with an open mind. But that being said, it's still something that is a part of my childhood, and I thought, you know what, this might actually be something worth watching. So this film is about a Brooklyn plumber named Mario who travels through the Mushroom Kingdom with a princess named Peach and a talking mushroom named Toad to find Mario's brother Luigi and to save the world from a ruthless fire-breathing Koopa named Bowser. So when you say it like that, the story is very straightforward, and ultimately that's what it's meant to be. And this is where I do sometimes get frustrated with how audiences perceive narratives in this kind of way, because yes, I know that in some of my reviews I have really analysed the narratives, but in this case it doesn't entirely matter because it's a film about a game series. So they had to craft a story that's cinematically appealing and simple for children and for adults to relate to in terms of nostalgia. And I think critics have been too harsh on it really, because if the narrative was, you know, quite far-fetched and it was very overly, you know, analysed, that people would complain and say, oh, it's not faithful to the original source, oh, it's nothing like the games. But when it's still like the games and it's very faithful to it, people will still say, oh, it's too simple. So either way, you can't really win. But I wasn't expecting the narrative to be uber creative. I was just expecting it to just be fun and entertaining. That would just remind me and take me back all the way to those games. And that's what the story did. And it did it in a very unique and extraordinary way in terms of how it was made. The animation in the film was absolutely breathtaking. They really added to the details within the animation that really kind of took us back to the kind of things that we saw in the games, such as the shiny question mark cubes, the power-induced mushrooms, and also when the Koopas would turn into little turtle shells on impact. And I think paying attention to those details in the animation really allowed us to explore that, not just within the specific things, but the general world that we were introduced to, like with the Mushroom Kingdom, the Jungle Kingdom, Bowser's Castle, etc. And through that animation, you really felt that you were whisked back into those extraordinary worlds that we all loved in the games. I also really like the details on the sound effects as well, like when Mario would hit those cubes, like when Mario would eat those mushrooms, and just the other sounds as well that we're so familiar with from the games too. Those plants that pop out the green pipes, and when he actually goes into the pipes. And to be fair, I chuckled to myself every single time I heard those sound effects on the screen, because it took me right back. And that was nice really, because it just made me smile. So I've talked about the ways that it was filmed in terms of the animation and the sound effects and the narrative. Here I'm going to talk about the characters now in a bit more depth, starting with Mario. I know before watching this film that there was a lot of controversy around the casting, but Equally, I thought to myself, there might be a reason why they've chosen Chris Pratt in the role of Mario, because he's a very heroic actor in many ways because of other films that he's been in the past. And he can also bring a sense of, humour and wit. And we've seen that in his vocal performances in films such as the Lego movies. And I think he did represent the Mario game character really well in this film. And alongside Chris Pratt, there was Charlie Day as Luigi. Now, a lot of people have really praised his role as Luigi, and I know he's taken a lot of interest in playing the character again in the sequels. I think he shared a really good vocal chemistry with Chris Pratt in this film, and I think that's why they really worked well. We also had Anya Taylor-Joy in the role of Princess Peach, and what I used to find with Princess Peach growing up when I was playing the games was that she was quite a hapless character, but I feel Anya Taylor-Joy, through this vocal performance and helping us get to know the character, she showed a sense of nobility and a great deal of pride in her performance with this character. And it actually reminded me a lot of Bo Peep in the Toy Story series, and I thought Anya Taylor-Joy's vocal performance was really good as well. The best performance, I think, for me was Jack Black as Bowser himself. And I thought his take on it, to be fair, was absolutely incredible, because his booming voice, of course, was exaggerated for, the intimidating nature of the Bowser character. And I think you could tell, just from the vocal performance, that Jack Black had a lot of fun playing this character. And the same goes with Seth Rogen as well as Donkey Kong, because he has a very distinctive voice, and you could tell it was him. He really allowed us to get into that transformative phase of the Donkey Kong character, from being a villain who was fighting Mario to becoming an ally of his. I also used to really love the Koopa Troopa characters in the game when I was a kid, and they were really good in this film as well. And actually, it's no coincidence that this film has been made by Illumination Animation Studios, because they were like Bowser's minions, a lot like how they were Gru's. So overall, the Super Mario Bros. Movie isn't a film to be taken too seriously, other than by fans of the games. And that doesn't matter whether you're an adult, grown up, having played them when you were a child, or if you are a child currently. And I think where the appeal of the film really lies is how it plays on nostalgia for adults. And I think if I was a kid now watching this film, I think I would have actually really loved it. It was a film that was just very good in terms of being what it was trying to be. I would say it's actually the best Illumination animation since Despicable Me in 2017. And ultimately, it's not absolutely perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I think if they were going to make a film about the Mario games, then I think they couldn't have done it any better than how they've done it here. And I'm sure we'll get a number of different sequels and spin-offs in years to come. What did you think of the Super Mario Bros. Movie? How did you think it compared to the games? Did you think it was a little bit of a disappointment? Or do you think they could have done something a little bit bolder to make it more interesting? Are you looking forward to other sequels? Did you watch it with your families? Or did you watch it on your own like I did? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you did want to enjoy this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe for more, and have a notification bell ticked so you're notified when I upload a new video. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everybody.